Alright, obscure sword and sorcery movies. Here's three of them. Conquest. This is a 1983 Italian film by Lucio Fulci. I hope I got that right. My Italian is rusty at best. So he is a master of horror in Italy, and he made Conquest, fantasy sword and sorcery film. And this one has a very weird, bizarre world where there are no buildings. Everybody lives in caves. It's almost like a prehistoric world. I really enjoy that. It's a different take on kind of fantasy worlds. And, it's just that kind of barely on the cusp of humanity type of feel to it. The fog budget was absolutely through the roof. He probably had about 16 fog machines that he paid good money for, he said, and said, I want to see these things used to their fullest. I need more fog. So he just cram-packed the movie full of fog, smeared the lens with Vaseline so it has this kind of wispy, blurry, foggy effect all throughout it, which could be ass to some people, but I dig it. It makes you think about a world where it's just, there's just tons of fog and mist and stuff, and how that would play with, a role-playing game aspect. You find out later that this is the main character here. His name's Mace, and I call them concrete nunchucks. They're probably pieces of stone or rock or something, but they're never really explained, but I call them concrete rock nunchucks. So he bashes in a lot of heads with those things. And another fellow that's in it's got a magical bow that kind of shoots electric, has electrical, like energy string with energy arrows that absolutely destroys everybody that gets hit with it. The bad person, the big bad, is this lady here who's completely naked. She has a gold mask. She sums up this big demon above her, and yes, she likes to have snakes crawl around her. It's got a bunch of gore, hardcore gore. Obviously, you would expect nothing less with that director. And it's got some really cool, I think, D&D type movie scenes in it. One scene in particular, it's called The Marsh. I think it's called The Marsh Attack. Yeah, Marsh Attack. Here's the inside of this cover. I got this on Amazon. I always like when you've got a sleeve on the back there, you can see through. The Marsh Attack is great. Some of the type of people in the different lands that they travel to are neat. It could have more monsters. All these movies could always have more monsters for me, but it's got a couple of them. But more than anything, it just has a strange world. Looks strange. Amazing music. I love the music in it. Very unique. A great badass hero that has a very much a weapons will solve the problem. He's not much of a talker, more of a doer, really. But it's just got a great feel, very unique. Some people hate it. I've shown it to people that hate it. I love it. Something about it. You'll have to see for yourself if you like it, if you want to check out Conquest. Many of these movies may be on YouTube. It's another thing I want to talk about is I watch movies on YouTube occasionally, but I don't like being held down to the fact that Netflix, streaming services, and YouTube control now what movies we get to see. Because with each new addition of technology, like Blu-ray, VHS to DVD to Blu-ray, we lose movies with each new jump. Okay, there's a lot of collectors up there of VHS movies, and even though they do look poor, compared to our standards nowadays, the fact is there's no way to get those movies. They didn't move on to DVD, and then some DVDs have not moved on to Blu-ray. So with each generation, we lose movies, and that's a real shame in my opinion. So while they do show up on YouTube, or they may show up on Netflix, those could be fleeting. Those could be taken away. I don't really care for that, so I like to have the versions myself so that I control what films I have. And even though this is on Amazon, this could be gone tomorrow, then where are you going to see this? It could come up on Netflix or YouTube, but it could be taken down. So that's Conquest, lots of gore, brutal world they live in, super badass dude with, his name's Mace for crying out loud, and concrete nunchucks, naked woman, enemy, bad guy. Second one is The Devil's Sword. Devil's Sword is also on Amazon. This is an Indonesian flick, also from 1983, the same year as Conquest. And obviously, a lot of these films come out of the success of Conan. Everybody rushed to try to make their own copycat, and thank God that they did. Because the fact of the matter is, a lot of these films, a lot of big-budget fantasy films, they just didn't make enough of them, in my opinion. If I had a time machine, I'd go back to the 1980s and give Roger Corman, if I got a time machine, I'm obviously rich. I mean, come on. I'm not going to make that out of styrofoam in my backyard. I'd give him a couple million, $20, $30, $40 million and let him make 80 movies out of that, knowing him. So love Roger Corman, love everything that he's brought. I love schlock and B-rated cheese movies. Thank God they're out there, because the fact of the matter is, all they do is fluff up the genre, and there's not enough of those movies. Be it sci-fi, fantasy, Road Warrior type post-apocalyptic films. He made them all, and he ripped them off of everywhere he could, and I'm glad he did. So the Italians did it, and here the Indonesians did it with the Devil's Sword. So what's great about this film? Well, the main hero, his name's Barry Prima, and he was apparently a big Indonesian star at the time. He's a pretty good hero. The bad guy has an incredible entrance. This dude here, he's fighting this guy here, right here. He has an entrance like no other. You will laugh at it with your buddies. Watch this with a bunch of buddies. Because if you like Kung Fu, it's a mixture of martial arts Kung Fu type with sword and sorcery fantasy. Their main villain is the Crocodile Queen. She's laying on her couch with this crocodile and a big pearl in its mouth. She lives underneath the water, though there's not really any indication really that she's underneath the water. I guess maybe it's a cave. It's a cave that she lives in, but she's the Crocodile Queen, because I do remember them swimming and then going up into a cave. So it's supposed to be sexy. It says here, sex, savagery, and mystical martial arts, an astonishing voyage into the unknown, an outrageous journey into a world where sex and magic breed monsters. The sex is trash, to be honest with you. It's just a bunch of petting, kissing, feeling on her. Nothing really great. But she seduces men and then steals their soul or kills them or something. It's not a great thing of the film, and it's not going to get you any jollies off on it whatsoever. But what you will enjoy is all the incredible dismemberment of bodies, the kung fu flying action, the people on strings, the body parts on strings, the heads being cut off, limbs being cut off, and just the over-the-top. It's got that over-the-top kung fu action mixed with a quest for a sword, caves, a monster in a cave, a guy in a rubber suit. You can't beat that. That's fantastic. And it has, in my opinion, one of the most D&D-esque scenes ever filmed, where Barry Prima's character has to go and get the Devil's Sword in a cave. You got to see it. You can find it on, I know it's last time I looked, it was on YouTube. It is an incredible scene that is just straight out of a D&D adventure, or a fantasy adventure. So there it is, Devil's Sword. It's one that I took a chance on. I love the red case for it. And again, it's in DVD, and it's not been made in Blu-ray. And that shows you right there how we lose movies with each edition. So DVD is my preferred format now. And check this out. If you like martial arts and sword and sorcery, you probably should love them both, in my opinion. Because I do. But that's just me. The third one is called The Sword of the Barbarians. Now, this one is an Italian schlock cheese fest, from the 80s, obviously. And it stars a guy named Pietro Torrisi. I hope I'm getting that right. And it says, a barbarian's wife and tribe are murdered by an evil goddess and warlord. The swordsman vows vengeance upon the cult that slayed his family. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? Wow. And it also says here he has an Asian archer. Huh. Very unique. Where would that come from? So this lady here on the front is, you can see, this is the uncensored cover here. She just plays a very small part in the film. She's not actually with him. And this shows you again, once again, that the covers of these films are much better usually than the movies. But these are good films, in my opinion, if you like schlock, cheesy, obscure sword and sorcery films. Like I said, he's got an Asian sidekick who spews off pretty much words of wisdom. And it says the Sword of the Barbarians. He has to go get a magical item. And I don't want to spoil it for you, but it is not a sword. Yeah. It may be some sort of translation issue with the Italians. But I really enjoyed this one. This one's probably one of my favorite. And this is a VHS copy from a company called Revoc.com. And there's several of these sites that allow you to get these obscure movies. And they're pretty much, master copy VHS burns. Or in this case, I believe this is a Japanese or some sort of Asian release. And it has subtitles at the bottom. But I don't care. This is the only way that you're going to be able to really get that on DVD. This is not going to be probably released. And so you have to kind of go with what you have. But he's very good in it. He has a great story of vengeance against a brutal warlord and this evil goddess that the warlord worships. And I rate this one very, very high on Sword and Wizardry Italian. This is probably, in my opinion, the best of the barbarian type sword and sorcery Italian flicks. But yeah, it's very good. This monster, this mammoth thing is not in it. So they did that a lot, and they faked you out with a bunch of cool covers. But very good. Highly recommend this one as well. So there it is. There's 3 films. 2 of them from Italy, 1 from Indonesia that you may not know about. You can get some of these on Amazon. You get the Sword of the Barbarians on Reebok.com. I'll do more of these movies if you enjoy them, because I have a pretty good extensive collection of sword and sorcery films that maybe you haven't heard about. Maybe you have, and maybe you can spread the word to other people about how good they are. But these 3 are... Conquest you may not like, I'll be honest with you. It's so bizarre, so different, with all the mist and the fog. But I mean, it's got concrete nunchucks. I mean, that's a win. Double sword, not very sexy, but cool scene, awesome martial arts, kung fu action, body parts and whatnot, people on strings. And Sword of the Barbarians is just it's a great Conan ripoff. This is probably one of the closest Conan ripoffs. And it has the very first scene with them attacking the Barbarians and Marauders are attacking a village of people. Oh, that's very unique. That scene is like it was filmed and then used in multiple Sword and Sorcery Italian flicks. So it does have that scene in here as well. I'm not even sure if I know exactly which movie it was that it originated from. It may be Ator, which I may talk about in one of these other movies. So there it is. Obscure Sword and Sorcery flicks. Thanks for watching.